Okay, you have your decision made. We've put our staircases in order of steepness from least steep to most steep. Okay, now what I want you to do is on number 2, it says explain. I want you to take a minute and I want you to write down why did you put them in that order? How did you make your decision? Okay, you don't tell me. Just write it on your paper. What were you looking at? What helped you make your decision? Okay, now, I'm going to give you a couple minutes. On number 3, it says, now discuss your ranking with others. Okay? If you're going to change your ranking, you can. Either you're going to check, no, I'm sticking with my original ranking, or I'm changing my ranking to this. So I want you to get up, I want you to move around, I want you to talk to your classmates and decide if you're going to leave them in that order or if you should switch the order. Go. All right, everybody move back to their seats with your final decision. All right. So I want you guys, some of you decided, nope, I don't care what anybody else says. I think mine is right. That's what I'm sticking with. And some of you, after talking to somebody else, maybe decided, yeah, maybe you're right. I'm going to change it. Some of you are like, I don't know. Tell me the answer. I want to know. I'm not going to tell you yet. Okay? But I want to know, what did you guys say? What was your ranking? From least to most steep. Aiden, tell me what you had. Say it slowly so I can write them out.
F, E, A, C, B, and D.
Okay? Did somebody have something other than that? And I'm not saying Aiden's right or wrong. So if you have something different, let me know. Yeah.
F, E, C.
Dude, I put it the wrong way on accident.
B, A.
Okay? Do something other than that. Hannah, what'd you have?
C, D, F, E, A, E.
Okay? Somebody have something different. I want all the different combinations that we thought.
I put mine on backwards on accident.
Okay, so read it the other way then.
It's literally the same thing as the first one.
Oh, is the first one? Okay. Somebody have something different than what's already up here. So everybody has one of these 3.
Yes.
Go ahead, Izzy.
I got F, E, A, and B.
Okay. And we have anything other than that. Rafa, what'd you have? Okay, so you had F, E, B, A, C, D. Anybody have anything different?
They don't.
Okay, well, I don't know if any of you guys are right or wrong yet. Okay. What helped you make your decision? What were you looking at? What were you... I didn't give you anything to measure. I'm going to give you something to measure with in a second. Aiden.
I looked at like how F had like the stairs are a lot longer and go farther where D is a lot steeper.
Okay, so he's saying he kind of looked at this right here compared to this. Okay, but this staircase in general is much bigger than this one, so that kind of makes it tricky, right? Because if I blew letter C up and made it the same kind of size as this, would they be the same? I don't know. But that's a good thing to look at. Did anybody look at anything different?
But, wait, I got something.
Oh yeah, you always got something to say. Go.
Well, you see F and D, they both have the same, like, back.
Oh, okay.
It looks
So-
like that long.
Logan said F and D both have like kind of the same height, but F is way longer than D, so
That's
therefore
why-
D has to be steeper than F.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay,
Like the angle.
that makes sense. I can get on board with that. Okay, now I'm gonna give you a ruler. Okay, now remember when I give you rulers, they do not become helicopters, they do not become like fighting machines or swords or anything else. They are for measuring only. Okay?
I don't trust
Well,
I'm very
Fair
trusting
enough.
person.
No,
Actually, they do.
okay, take a ruler, pass it back. So what I heard many of you say is we should, when you were looking at, okay, please listen. What I heard many of you say is what you needed to look at and what we kind of were comparing was how tall the staircase was and how long the staircase was. Okay, I'm not gonna look at individual steps because the steps are pretty small, but we're gonna look at the staircase as a whole. Okay, so I want you to take your ruler. And what we're gonna measure on A is this distance and this distance. Okay, now when you measure, you're gonna use the centimeter part, and we're gonna actually flip the page on your packet, it'll be easier to measure. Flip the page to the backside. So they're a little more spread out and you have a little more space. Okay? On letter A, please listen. On letter A, I want you to measure the bottom. I want to make sure we're all measuring the same. I get 4.9. Okay, on letter A, on the bottom. Logan, follow me here. Double check your measurement. Everybody should get 4.9 on the bottom there.
If we read it underneath it. 'cause
Yep, it's okay.
Okay.
I got 4.9. Look at it again. It's, I don't, 4.9. Okay. Now let's measure the other direction, up and down. I got 3.7.
3.6.
I'm gonna go with 3.7. Okay? Now I want you to make the same measurements on all the other staircases. Don't do anything with them yet, just measure. As accurate as possible, no rounding to the nearest tenth. Okay, so take a couple minutes, measure all the other staircases. Measure the bottom, how long it is, and how high it is. You start zero, right? This is not zero, right? Which one, right? You guys are at zero, and this is 3.7.
Yes, ever. But that's just Kelly.
Try to measure as accurately as possible. Okay, I want you to compare your measurements with mine. hopefully they're pretty close. They within a millimeter, right? So if I have 10.1, maybe you had 10. If I had 5.5, maybe you have 5.4 or 5.6. But your number should be very close to mine. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, and if yours is off by more than a millimeter, then double check your measurement. Okay, and you might find that, oh, yep, I was off. I'm pretty sure mine are pretty accurate. Okay, now these numbers don't do us a whole lot of good because every staircase is kind of different. Okay, now it helps us with like a one, like A, E, and D, because they're all the same height, right? They all have 3.7 as the height, and they're all different lengths. So that means the wider the staircase, the less steep, right? So that means D has to be steeper than A, which is steeper than E. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So E is one of the least steep, A is a little bit steeper, and D is the most steep, but it doesn't really help us with the other ones yet. Okay. So when we look at this, we really need to be comparing staircases that are all the same height so that we can look at their step. Okay, now let's think about walking upstairs. Okay, this is important. If I'm going to write a ratio, do I want to compare the step up to how long it is or how long to the step up? Okay, now think about walking up a step. If you had to tell somebody how to walk up a step, well, if you had to give me instructions, like I had no idea how to walk up steps, what would you tell me?
Step by step.
Would you tell me to step forward and then step up, or would you tell me to lift my foot up and then step forward and then...
Step on the step, put your other foot, step on the next
So
step.
this is important. Do I step forward first and then up, or do I step up and then forward?
Depends on how far away you are from it.
Oh no, it's still...
Or you just skip them all. Just
The steps are right in front of me. I gotta walk up these steps. I don't know how to get up them. What am I gonna do?
Use all ours and cross.
Step up first. I gotta lift my foot up first.
What if you're going down?
What?
Lift your other foot.
Okay, listen. Why is it important to lift your foot first?
Otherwise you just go.
Otherwise, just kick it, stub your toes, right? Okay, you guys, this is important. As we start getting into slope tomorrow, this is important. It is important that you know you have to rise your foot up before you can step forward. Or you're gonna trip and fall. Really hurts your shins, okay? It's not gonna be pretty. Okay, and then I want to get up the next step, so I lift my foot up again and I step forward. So what I really want to write a ratio about is how much do I have to step up to how much do I have to step forward. So when I look at letter A, I'm stepping up 3.7 over 4.9. Okay, now really this is only going to help me if we're comparing the same amount, so I'm going to write a unit rate. I'm going to grab my calculator. And I'm going to divide 3.7 divided by 4.9, and I get 0.76 over 1. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing with letter B. I have to step up and forward. So up is 2.4, forward is 3.7. Grab my calculator and I'm going to divide again. 2.4 divided by 3.7. I got 0.65 over 1. Okay, letter C. We have 1.5 over 3 is 0.5 over 1. Please be writing these down on your paper. Letter D, our step up and forward is the same. 3.7 over 3.7, 1 over 1. Letter E, we'd have 3.7 over 5.5 is 0.67 over 1. And letter F, 3.9 over 10.1 is 0.39 over 1. Okay, this is helpful. Because when I see it written as unit rates, that means every single one of these staircase has a step forward of 1. Okay, no matter what, I'm stepping the same amount forward. And how high I have to step is really the steepness, right? So the higher I have to step, the more steep it is. So which one do I have to step the highest? D. So looking at our final rankings, oh, sorry, this one. B is not the steepest, D is. Okay, and which one do I have to step the least amount? That is F. Okay, so we had F first and D last. That made sense. I think it was pretty obvious that F was the least steep and D was the most steep. But then we have all these in the middle, that there's a lot of different ways they could go. Now, based on these numbers, when we have actual measurements with it, we can figure it out. Okay, F was the least steep. Then would have been C. Nobody said that. Did anybody, maybe somebody who didn't want to say anything, did anybody say C was next? Ah, Rafa, you didn't want to say yours. You had it. F, and then C, and then what would come after that? F, C, B, then E, then A, then D. That is the correct order of steepness, from least to most. Okay, now I'm guessing letter D is more like my house. I have an old house. My steps are more like that. Okay, the auditorium is more like F. Which of these in the middle do you think is the best? Which is the most normal staircases? What do you think?
B.
It's probably B. B or E are the most normal, okay? The optimal staircase is 0.06. If you are building a new house, that is the best steepness to feel the most normal, okay? That makes sense? Now, the important takeaway from today is we wrote ratios about how far up you have to step before you can step forward. And we're going to need to know that tomorrow when we start talking about finding slope. It's always how much you have to step up before you can move forward. Okay? Pass your rulers forward so I can collect those.